WCBI sports coverage of the College World Series is brought to you by Hosford Law Firm, Bank First, and visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Welcome into Oxford to Omaha. John Sokoloff, Cam Dyer here with you all the way from Omaha. Our Gracie Barra is back in the studio. We'll hear from her in a little bit, but Cam, when you talk about this Ole Miss season, I mean, it's a storybook season. They were down in the dumps at 7-14 in the SEC West play, and now they've been one of the hottest teams in the country and have advanced to the College World Series for the first time since 2014. And with the Rebels, it's been business as usual. They practiced at the ballpark yesterday, and this morning we were with them at Creighton's old baseball field where they were practicing. But Cam, what stuck out to you the most about this Ole Miss team?
Yeah, you talk about it being a storybook season. It started out, looked like it could have been a nightmare season, turned into a dream. They're now here in Omaha, and they've put it together at the right times, John. I mean, the pitching has been lights out, allowing no runs in Hattiesburg. And I mean, those are the last outings that Dylan DeLucia and Hunter Elliott have had. And more than likely, we're definitely seeing DeLucia tomorrow, and we're going to see Elliott in game 2. The pitching has been lights out, and I mean, we're going to see if they can continue that here in Omaha.
The craziest thing about it is teams that have never been here have won it all, and teams that look like the consensus #1 overall team, like Tennessee, sometimes don't make it. So it truly is anybody's game here, but it's more about that for Mike Bianco. He's got a lot of older players on this team who are finally fulfilling that dream of playing in Omaha, and it's special for him.
I think I've appreciated, and even back to the Super Regional, just watching the kids, watching guys, and not just Tim. Tim gets a lot of the pub, but other guys like Bench and Graham and Chofie and guys, that have been on this team, and they've won a ton of games, but they haven't played in the stadium. And so to watch them, walk in it and take pictures, and that's been really cool.
I've always dreamed of playing in Omaha, and I finally got here my last year, but just a really cool moment, being out there with all the guys and taking ground balls and just taking it all in. Really cool. It just feels like a good accomplishment to get here, but it's not our goal to just get to Omaha. It's to win a national championship.
So as you can see, these players certainly mean a lot to Mike Bianco. We could do a whole 30-minute special about Tim Elko. But speaking of Tim Elko, so now we know how much the players mean to him, but how much do the players know about their head coach? I mean, they've played in plenty of games together. So we put a few of them to the test. Tim Elko, Justin Bench, and Kevin Graham to see who knows Mike the most. Where is Mike from?
He's from Florida, I believe Seminole, Florida.
Seminole, Florida. It's from my hometown, Seminole, Florida. That's where I'm from.
How old is he?
Ooh, man.
52. 50. I think 55. That's my guess.
I'm going to say 52.
You were a little off there. He's 55.
Oh, I gave him a couple years. That's good.
I feel like he turned 50 when I was here.
I don't know. Have you been here 5 years?
No. Tim has.
Where do he play his college ball?
LSU.
LSU.
Well, at LSU for sure. I don't remember where before that.
Do you remember what his first gig as an assistant was?
I think it was at LSU.
First gig as assistant coach? I think LSU. I think it was LSU.
What school was he the head coach of right before Ole Miss?
McNeese.
McNeese State.
There we go. All right.
Talk about it all the time. How am I blanking? It's in Louisiana. Is it not McNeese?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember what year he got to Ole Miss?
2000?
2000. His first season, right? 98?
How many kids does he have?
5. Let me make sure I count that right. Michael, Ben, Drew, Sam, Catherine.
Wow. There you go, man.
Let's go. That was the easiest question. I think everyone should get that one.
4.
He's got 5. Do you know the 4
Nope.
names?
5.
There we go. Yeah. All right. I think you started to do it there already, but can you name them?
Sam, Drew, Ben, Catherine.
Michael?
Michael, that's it.
It's all right.
Easiest
All right,
one.
Wait, no, I do know it's 5. I don't know why I said 4. Oh my gosh. So you got Catherine, Drew, Ben, Sam, and Michael. Yeah, I don't know. I literally knew it was 5. Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, John, it looks like obviously Mike Bianco is excited to be here. The team's excited to be here, but we've seen lots of fans who couldn't wait to get here. They haven't been here since 2014, and a lot of them made it out to Omaha, but some didn't. Some are back in Oxford, and our Desmond Matthews has more from them.
The Ole Miss baseball team has made it to Omaha. It's the first time the program has made it over the hump since 2014. In 2020, the Rebels were off to a hot start before the COVID-19 pandemic swept the world by surprise. 2 years later, after an up-and-down regular season, the Rebs began hitting on all cylinders. Fans like Jean Moore have supported the team at home and away, and going to Omaha is no different.
COVID did such a number on everybody, and it was so disappointing when they had to quit that season early. And we're just so glad 2 years later we are able to celebrate them and go. We're going to have a great time, and they're going to do so well.
Other fans like Eric Spencer are sticking around Oxford. Spencer is one of the co-owners of OBs. He's proud of how far the team has come and how their success will push the town and state forward.
It was great to see them get in because, struggled there towards the end of the season, kind of turned it around late in the season, and then, it was just great to see them rally together and play like they were playing the first part of the year. I think traction coming to Oxford, and excitement for the town, the university in the town. I think it's great for it. We saw it in Starkville last year with Mississippi State going. I think it's great for the state, really and truly. I mean, state last year, Ole Miss this year.
The Rebels went 19-12 here at Swayze Field. It may be quiet now, but fans are expected to fill the stands on Saturday for the watch party as Ole Miss prepares to take on Auburn for Game 1 of the College World Series.
Whether fans are hitting the road or staying at home to support the Rebels, they're getting one piece of merchandise.
Come by and get some Omaha shirts.
That's right, Omaha shirts are flying off the shelves, along with other Ole Miss apparel. Shelby Wiley works at Cat Daddy's on the Square in Oxford. Aside from seeing more people than usual during the summer, she enjoys seeing the joy on the fans' faces.
I like how all the town gets kind of crazy about it, and you can definitely tell a lot more people come to town, and everybody's excited about it.
In Oxford, Desmond Matthews,
Hotty toddy.
WCBI News.
So Mike Bianco has 5 kids. 2 of them play Power 5 baseball. One of them, Drew Bianco, played at Mike's alma mater, LSU. And a couple weeks ago, Ole Miss was playing LSU when LSU had its senior day. So Mike actually got to partake in those festivities. It was pretty cool. But last weekend in Hattiesburg at the Super Regional, his only child that was there was Catherine. So here's a look at why and the Omaha plans for the family.
A really cool moment. And I guess the reason I don't tweet much, about the family or too much about the family, but I thought that was cool just because she was the only one there. In 2014, everybody else was there but her. And the reason they weren't there is, as you know, I have a son that plays for Louisville, and most of them, made the trek to College Station, so they were, on their way back, from a super regional, and a couple of them were working on that day.
So that's actually pretty cool. So Catherine was there supporting their dad, and the rest of the Bianco clan was out in College Station supporting their brother Ben in Louisville for that Super Regional. But now the whole crew is going to be here in Omaha. It'll be a special moment for the Bianco family. But back to the Rebels baseball team, one of the most special parts about it has been Hunter Elliott, Cam.
Yeah, and that kid, I mean, we know, we've told the people all about what he can do on the mound, but let's get to know him a little bit off the field. So, Hunter, first of all, did you think this early in your career you'd be here in Omaha and be here as basically a co-ace with Dylan DeLucia?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you come here for, is to make it Omaha. So yeah, you expect it your first year. You expect it every year, really. So, but yeah, it's a dream come true for obviously it to be the first year. And yeah, I mean, it's cool being a big part, but I mean, everybody's just as big a part of the team.
I got to ask you, you're from Tupelo. How big of an Elvis fan are you?
It may upset some people, but I'm really not. I don't even listen to any of his music, never really have, so.
So I'm guessing you don't have much of an impression for us here?
No impression. I don't even, sadly, I'm not a big fan at all.
All right, so, if you're not doing the Elvis stuff in Tupelo, what's the most underrated thing to do in Tupelo?
Oh, goodness.
I'm a big golfer, so I like going golfing every time I get the chance. That's about it. Golf and baseball and hang out with the family and the girlfriend.
There we go. And John and I drove up here in one day, made lots of gas station stops. If you were doing that and stopped at the gas station, what's your go-to snack and drink to keep you going?
I would probably have to go like a candy, like a Sweet Tart Ropes or something like that. Probably not what the nutritionist or the strength coach wants to hear, but I mean, it's good for you every once in a while. And then the go-to drink, probably Propel or like a vitamin water or something like that. I don't really drink sodas, so one of those.
Sounds pretty good to me, actually.
Yeah,
So,
refreshing.
Yeah, and I've heard some of the guys have some pretty intense pickleball games going on. Have you joined? And if not, kind of what's your go-to kind of stranger hobby or activity?
I haven't joined. I've heard the talk of it, and I need to join sometime soon, for sure when we get back. But I don't know. I mean, my go-to hobby has to be golf. I mean, every time I get the free chance and the opportunity, I'm out on the course, either hitting the range or hitting the course.
Yeah, and I mean, I doubt you're able to kind of do that right now. So when you're just chilling in the hotel, getting ready to play, you're the last team to play, what are you doing to stay busy?
Laying around. Today we'll watch some of the other games, probably go to a game today, experience the experience as a fan, walk around. I like to go to coffee shops, get some coffee, local places. That's one of my favorite things to do. But yeah, just resting and wishing you could be on the golf course.
There we go. Awesome, Hunter. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back.
Ole Miss's first round matchup hits home for Tigers head coach Butch Thompson, who grew up in Aberdeen and was a big Ole Miss fan, and he knows just how much baseball means to his home state.
Every time you see somebody from the state of Mississippi, we all are rooting for somebody from the state of Mississippi, and I did. I grew up about, 50 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour from Starkville, about an hour and 10 from Oxford, and about an hour and a half from Alabama there. I call it the Bermuda Triangle growing up. So, I mean, if you cared about sports, and I love baseball, and, once I latched into baseball, it's just been a mecca. And you think about like at our school, a Hal Baird and a Ron Polk, and what those guys have just built this SEC brand that we get to experience today. In baseball in the state of Mississippi, there is a lot of pride. And even though I'm at Auburn in the neighboring state, I got a lot of pride in the folks that's done so well and come out of the great state of Mississippi.
Butch Thompson and his Tigers first got a look at the Rebels back in March. Ole Miss won the weekend series against Auburn to open up conference play, taking 2 of the 3 games. Game 1 was a tight battle until Ole Miss blew things open with a 6-run inning in the top of the 6th. The Tigers couldn't find an answer. The Rebs took that one 13-6. But the next day was a totally different story. Ole Miss pitching struggled and Auburn's bats were hot. The Rebs started Derek Diamond on the bump, and he allowed 5 runs in 3 1/3 innings pitched. The Tigers continued to pile on the runs, blowing out the Rebs 19-5. Ole Miss was quick to bounce back, though, in the final game of the series. The Rebels took that one 15-2 behind 5 strong innings from Jack Doherty, who allowed just 1 run and tossed 7 strikeouts. But this game is going to be different tomorrow. These are 2 different teams than they were 3 months ago, and we'll have more breaking them down after the break.
Welcome back. I'm joined by Michael Katz of the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. He covers Ole Miss. Was that, I believe, every Ole Miss baseball game this year? If not every one, it was pretty close. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and an absolutely insane, miraculous run here. What's been your biggest takeaway from the Rebel season so far?
They didn't quit. It sounds cliche and it sounds overused, and I know the coaches and players have talked about how they just never stop believing, but it's one thing to say it and it's one thing to do it. And after these tough losses, they kept saying, we're going to get it turned around, and it wasn't happening. And it's, it kind of sounded like the old song and dance, and then all of a sudden they did. And it's honestly, it's incredible what they've done, winning by a lot in this postseason, only giving up 11 runs. It's honestly it's a tremendous run.
It really is, especially when you consider that team that was 7-14, and then you look at the team that has won every game of the postseason. The only other team that's done that is Texas A&M, and you look at the numbers, you could argue they're the hottest team in the country. But enough of the past. Let's take a look kind of at the field and who they're playing. That first opponent is Auburn. But do you think this Ole Miss team is kind of built to make a deep run in the College World Series?
I think this is the type of team that they're so hot right now, and I think the field is really even. And I know every year you say every team has a chance, but I really feel like this year you could make an argument for any one of the 8 teams. And part of that is the big talk that Tennessee got knocked out and they were kind of the prohibitive favorite. But, really, I think any of these teams, if they are feeling it like they have been, they can make a run. And Ole Miss, when you've got those 2 guys pitching the way they have with DeLucia and Elliott, and the offense for a while wasn't getting those big hits. They're getting those big hits now. They're having those big moments, and they're coming through. And I would not want to play them right now. They are dangerous. I would not be surprised if they make a little noise here.
It's an interesting point you just made there because, I mean, everyone here is really good, but you have a team in Ole Miss who is the literal last team in the field. You have a team in Tennessee that had a historically dominant season. Ole Miss is in Omaha. Tennessee sent home in Super Regionals. A lot of fans of non-Tennessee teams were giggling a little bit at that. But Mike Bianco put it best at his press conference, saying that every year this game remains incredibly hard, and we saw it happen to Arkansas last season, how the Razorbacks got knocked off, and they were basically last year's Tennessee. And so you never really know. So once you get here, and you also see teams like Coastal Carolina that win it all in 2016. So if I were to have to give it a variable, like Ole Miss, in order for them to win it all, X needs to happen, what would you think the biggest one would be?
The pitching has to keep doing what it's doing. I think that's been the story for them all year. When things weren't going well, those top 2 spots weren't solidified, and they were trying a lot of different things. And Mike Bianco didn't like using the term opener, but they kind of did some, unconventional things, and it didn't work. And they tried different guys on Fridays, and it didn't work, and some different guys on Saturdays, and it didn't work. And with DeLucia and Elliott having solidified those spots, they have just been so good lately. If they do what they've been doing, they're going to give them a shot to win every game, especially with the way the offense is playing. I think the offense is probably going to be fine, just the way they're swinging the bats right now. For me, it's the starters. Keep getting length with their starts, and if they do that, the bullpen's been really good. I think everything falls in place though when Dill and Hunter Elliott are doing what they do.
Well, those are the 2 main guys that we've all talked about there, but it'll be interesting to see if they kind of slip up in one of those first few games. They'll have to kind of rely on somebody else, and that'll make things difficult. Real quickly, do you think that their path to winning it all, that they need to win these first 2 games?
You always want to win the Friday night, quote unquote, kind of thing. It's a really hard way out to be in the losers bracket. We've seen it happen. Obviously, teams have come through. You just kind of dig yourself into a hole. You winning that first game, I think, is really, really big.
Sure, it's huge. In Mississippi State last season, they won their first 2 and got it done. You're in just such a more difficult road if you don't win that first game. He's Michael Katz of the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be right back. Before we wrap up from Oxford to Omaha, we're going to get some predictions. How about we go back to the studio to Grace Ibarra. Grace, how do you think Ole Miss is going to do Saturday against Auburn, and how do you see them doing up here at the College World Series?
Well, I'm going to go with the Rebels are going to take down the Tigers tomorrow, but I'm not really so sure about how they're going to do the rest of the way after that. I think Arkansas and Stanford are 2 really tough opponents they could draw in that winner's bracket, and I think it's probably lose 2 games after they beat Auburn. John and Cam, what about you guys?
Cam, what do you think, real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. If they win the first 2, which I think they're going to, there's no reason they can't make it to the series, championship series, and win it all.
Wow, winning it all. That's Cam Dyer. I think they're going to beat Auburn in Saturday, and then I think they're going to lose the next 2. But again, if they win those first 2, that's such a huge advantage, and that's been the recipe for a national champion for a plethora of teams in the past. For Grace Ibarra and Cam Dyer, I'm John Sokoloff signing off from Omaha. Thank you so much for tuning in, and follow along with our coverage all week long.
WCBI sports coverage of the College World Series is brought to you by Bill Russell Ford Lincoln, Mama Justice, and Bank of Kilmichael.